Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Lauracrapo. I'm going to do a collective reading today. I haven't done one of these in a long time. I'm not going to use tarot cards because it's like easier to do it without them. Okay. Obviously, like the collective, it's like a really big group. Normally, I'm just focusing on one person in my reading, so I'm just getting the feel for like the whole. So I feel like some people really don't feel heard. Just gonna look for the solution for that. I feel like one way is to even if your concerns are very simple, if you write them into your local government, that I think they're obliged to read those. That's one step. Like, 'cause I feel like there's so much stuff on the web and in the media. It might feel like you don't have a place to put it where like people can really hear you. So wait, just let me see. I don't know. It's like the old-fashioned thing of just giving speeches to your community. I don't know if you know how some people have like community leadership or like block, even by like your own block and stuff. Like grassroots. So if you talk to your neighbors on your block and you sort of work together, like what are our main concerns, and then as a group, you have more power presenting your ideas to the local government. Yeah, and there might be like neighboring blocks that like aren't as proactive, and they might like have a different vibe. But like I think if you're able to achieve some kind of good changes in your own like block, that's huge, and that has like a ripple effect on your surrounding areas. Let's say like kids don't have a place to go and safely play. Like you figure it out. Like you figure out some responsible parents and you do like a group play or something like that, or a supervised outdoor, whatever it might be, backyard. But it's not just like everyone to their own house. Like I know in the States it's a bit more like that. In other countries, like it's more community based, but I'm getting that. Also, there's this like in the collective, like this sort of bummer vibe around like dating, or like you know how like the dating apps can be sketchy. So there's people like feeling down about the inability to find like good people to share their life with. Can you just look at that? And what I'm seeing is like if people sort of don't use the internet as much for that and like go out in the world and like be yourself and share your gifts and really keep an eye open for people that you like and just be open to having a conversation with them, like not in an aggressive way, but like just being open at all. It might be a big change from what some people are doing right now. Sorry about my dog, but he really gets. Wait, I'm just gonna tell him to be quiet. Like, wait 1 sec. I'll be back in a sec. Okay. Let me think of an example so it's not so vague. Okay, like let's say you have a job in an office, but what if you like did 1 day a week barista? Like, you know what I mean? Oops. And like that way you're like forced to have conversations with your community and meet people. So whether it's like working at the farmer's market vegetable stand like for 3 hours or whatever it is, like just so you're like seen and people have to interact with you and stuff. Okay, what else? Also, like I feel like you know how food's really expensive now. Um, I feel like if people make groups where they like cook together, um, so they're like it's community, but they're also chipping in. So let's say it's like a more expensive or more complicated recipe than you're normally doing, but like doing it with people like could be cool. I know like when I grew up in the early 70s, like as a young kid, like my mom made friends with these two other families that had a bunch of young girls too, and they would just we'd always be doing stuff together and like a lot of crafts and cooking and hiking and it wasn't always just like our little unit. Um, and like we weren't related. It was just like common interest people. So if you think of like enlarging your family like that, even if it's not like forever, it's like really nice for especially when your kids are younger and you don't want it to always just be in your own little bubble of the house, you know. Obviously, like people you feel safe about, like around your kids. Having said that, this one mom like did leave me and her daughter, like we were the two youngest, well, not the youngest of the girls, behind at a park, and like didn't realize till like half an hour later. But I think because we were like tough 70s kids, it was like normal. Okay. So yeah, finding like real world ways of hanging out with people and spending your life with other people and being like you're not just like remote working or whatever, you have also a 1 day a week part-time job where you're like physically present and interactive somehow. Collective. I feel like too, like the educational system obviously has gotten like way worse since the 80s and more simplified, more like regimented, like more the same like across the board and stuff, which is terrible. And so I'm feeling like the effects of people just feeling like they don't have adequate education and so they don't have the ability to like really empower themselves or express themselves. I just kind of feel like if you're hungry for that, like if you have the time or if there is like a library or like a remote, like a library on wheels or whatever there might be in your neighborhood, like just start that process of like educating yourself and asking questions to people who know stuff. Like I have an ancestor who was a farmer and they were really poor, and he would read whatever newspaper, something he could get his hands on, and if he didn't know a word, he'd like write it down in this journal and then like walk whatever 20 miles to the nearest library and then get a dictionary and like write down the meaning and everything. And so he ended up with like a handwritten dictionary, which is in a library now in Flint. And so it's like, and then he ended up becoming like governor of Michigan. So it's like you just sort of build what you can. I feel like there are people out there who have basically like a grade 4 to grade 6 education who are adults and they really want to improve. And like there's a lot of dignity in loving yourself enough to keep educating yourself and really like honoring that part of you that is the learner and the educated person inside of you that wants to flower, you know. Okay, collect him. I feel like there's a lot of like emotional energy, like people not knowing what to do with their emotions and like going off and then having like the negative repercussions. Like, just gonna look at that. A lot of the time, like the way to solve something isn't like confrontational. Like it's good to go from like confused to angry in the sense that anger puts the focus on solving the problem, but then communication with another person is like the next step after anger, where you're like, okay, I need to get my point across to this person in a winning manner, in a way that will result in a good result, hopefully for both. So you can like honor your anger, because it's like, I have a strong feeling, I have purpose, and I need to go in the right direction right now if, let's say, something's going wrong. So maybe at that point you can like write stuff down or just say it to yourself, if you're not into writing it. I like rehearsing it to yourself, like, these are the things I'm upset about, and then you can kind of like fine tune it, because at first you might have like a lot of random tangential like stories that are like a part of the big story, and then once you feel like you have it organized, and it might take like a little while to go like, what is the real like one sentence thing I want to do here, to solve it or to communicate it, and then at that point you have to use like the methods to communicate well with people. And like some people say, never use the word you. So it's like, I feel about this subject like this. I want this type of justice. You may be finding resources or like some kind of community service thing that's free that helps people like deal with difficult situations. Like, for instance, I like this month went to the rental board to like, I had issues with noise from neighbors, and like, at the same time, I was, like, late with rent, and so, like, the landlord had me come in for that, and so in the courtroom, we were both talking about our separate issues, but, like, in front of a really smart, like, woman judge who, it's like the courtroom is like the scales, so it's like, and also in a lease agreement, like, you both have equal power, like, so, and in the courtroom, they give you that, uh, like, half, like, 50% of the power balance and stuff, and they just wanna come up with an agreement that is reasonable between the two of you. So, like, and you can't necessarily get that in a face-to-face conversation with your landlord or whoever you might be talking to. So there is some advantage to getting a third party that's part of the community to solve problems like that and just to organize everything. Like if you have emails, like make a little binder of like the important stuff. It's like be your own secretary, like, and even as things are going on, let's say in life, you just keep like a journal, like a sort of calendar journal. You can buy like a year journal thing, and it's just for like stuff that comes up. Like, they didn't deliver this package today. Oh, it didn't arrive on this day, or like this person said that. And then that way it's not like, oh my God, where is that thing? It's just like, oh, it's on this day. And that's super easy when something comes up because you've been keeping note the whole time. And so just like anytime something comes up, even little, you just like write it down, and then you're helping yourself in the future for when you need to show it to a third party like that. So yeah, so what I'm trying to advise is like I see some of that aggressive face-to-face contact, but like just try to like what I said before, like just honor your strong feelings, honor your anger, because the anger is like, I want to change this. Don't see it as like hate. See it as just like your own like force rising within you to like make a positive change. And then ask around if it's like tense between you and that person, for help, because usually there is some kind of help. Okay, what else collected? I feel like too, like a lot of people have like story ideas, like creative ideas, movie ideas and stuff that they just feel like they can't like share yet, or they don't know how to go about it. Again, I'm seeing this kind of community thing, like even if, let's say, like right now, like in Montreal, and like there's some theater groups, and I'm sure there's like community stuff I'm not aware of because I haven't been looking. But you can always start your own. Even if I know there's like people who have like writing groups, um, so they'll do like a first draft, share it with everyone, and then they'll give their feedback, and then they'll keep fine tuning it, and then they publish it, and they're happy. And then they also have this sort of community feeling backing them. But I also see like, how you see clips of like the actor studio or whatever, like some acting teacher like lecturing a class on how to do it right or whatever. Like that size, like 50-person groups where you can like get together and just be like theater workshop. And it's like you've never done it before. You've never written a play, you never lit a play, you never acted. And it's like you just get a bunch of people together locally who are also like wanting to try something like that, and through that, like you really, that's your training ground, and it also gives you the community support so that when you finally get the bravery to go like, okay, I'm gonna put on my play, like, and they're all like, yay, like we know you. So I feel like that would be really beneficial. Okay. And then like politics comes up because it does feel like, honestly, like it's kind of weird because I remember like Ronald Reagan was the first like didn't seem that smart kind of president, and then George W. like he would make a lot of mistakes when he was giving speeches, and he didn't seem that bright. But then like compared to like you know who I'm talking about today, like he's making George W. look smart by comparing. It's just like what. So it's I know it's frustrating to have like these characters who you don't feel like represent you or your interests like come and be like leading. So I'm just gonna look at that. I mean, I think like people in power like have their own agenda that might not necessarily be what's the word? I can't think of the word like kind, but it's not the word I was thinking of, altruistic. But it's like a business, like USA Corp is what I guess I'm picking up on the United States as an example, but it's like I think it is actually like incorporated. I think there's like the real United States, and then there's the United States corporation that runs all their business financial stuff. I don't know, but I think that's the case. So like think of it like a shoe store with like like think of it like a monopoly kind of shoe store that's just running their business. People do have voices though, and like what people do in the world like makes a difference. So again, I'm getting this like grassroots. Gosh, just one second. Just one second. like I don't think necessarily like getting people like angry and worked up is gonna be as effective as taking on like one thing at a time. It's like okay, like for instance, like in Montreal, even though I've written to the mayor and everything about homeless like solutions and stuff like in the subway and stuff, uh, to be more compassionate and have space for people who like go there as a last resort and stuff. So like it would be like if, let's say a community got together, it's like okay, let's just work on this one metro station and making it more hospitable and welcoming and like easier to engage or get services from this point where people end up going as a last resort, that kind of thing. Let's just one thing at a time. Because it's kind of like if you reduce everything down to like micro, macro, like living in your house, like you're not going to do everything at once. You're going to do things one at a time. You may have a list, but you're going to do things one at a time. So I kind of feel like that would be a really effective means to have a positive impact politically in your area. I also pick up like one thing that might happen is like more doctors might just decide to go back to the old method of like, doctors used to have offices just in their home, like let's say in the basement, like I guess like the Cosby Show, like I remember there was that on my block like in the early 80s and stuff. We didn't go to that person, but I didn't know that. But I did go to a dentist like that in someone's home. So I feel like more doctors will just decide not to become part of the giant corporate network and just be family doctors independently. And maybe they'd get like less money, but they'd get enough and they'd be doing a great service in their community. So that's like, that feels kind of strong. Okay, one more thing, because it's like, thing is like it's so cold out, and he's a short-haired Chihuahua, and he hates the cold. So it's like I take him for walks, but he gets mad. Okay, last thing, collective. I feel like let's say things are tight financially and you can't go on a vacation. I feel like it might be good to like make a slideshow or like a book of memories, like a whatever, of previous awesome times you've had on vacation, and that kind of like invites that energy of like taking another vacation sometime soon, but you're like, instead of being pissed about it or feeling like you let somebody down, it's like, let's just celebrate our good moments. Because anytime you like make a good vibe for the people that you love, like they appreciate it because you're not like mad and stuff. So just try to focus on the positive and celebrate and be grateful for what you have and what you've experienced before. I'm just gonna end it here. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you guys have any comments or suggestions for topics, feel free to email me or leave a comment here. If you can, like, share, subscribe. I'd love to get up to 1,000 subscribers one day. That'd be really super. So if you're part of that, I appreciate you.